for our show.
Great.
Yes, good to see you.
First things first, eye candy.
Wow.
3 pieces of eye candy.
Mutual admiration society going on right now.
It's good stuff. Hey, Broussard, you remember when the Warriors were unstoppable and full of healthy weapons and winning? Well, lately they've been stoppable. All 4 weapons are hurt, and the team's lost 6 of their last 9 games. But Kevin Durant said yesterday he will return to the court on Thursday for their game against the Bucks. KD's missed the last 6 games with a rib injury. Chris, how far could Durant carry the Warriors without Steph Curry, if that's the way things are looking?
Look, without Steph, they're still an elite team. They're still a contender. They're one of Houston, Cleveland, one of a handful of teams that could win it all. But if they don't have Steph Curry, they will get beat in the conference finals by Houston. Houston would be the favorite. And I think they'd have trouble in the first round. And they will have trouble in the first round. Right now, they would meet Utah. Utah has won 23 of its last 27 games, including a 30-point blowout of the Warriors when Steph was there, when the 4 All-Stars were there. So I'm not saying Utah will beat them. I'm just saying they will have trouble in the first round. The Warriors are an entirely different team when Steph Curry is not there. Kevin Durant said it himself. Steph Curry is the system. You look, and I know, Nick, you'll say they still got 3 All-Stars. Klay Thompson and Draymond Green are much different players when Steph is not
Right,
on
they're
the
not
field.
All-Stars without him.
Exactly.
Oh, I think Clay would be.
Maybe. He wouldn't be a perennial All-Star for sure.
Okay.
And Draymond would not be, I will say.
Agreed.
Draymond, with Steph on the floor, he shoots 47% from the field. Without Steph, 40% from the field. When Steph plays, Klay shoots 51%. Without Steph, 43%. Those are not all-star numbers, like you said. So they're really good players, but they're not spectacular. So it's Kevin Durant and some good role players, and that's not going to win a championship.
Well, when you say Kevin Durant, I think it's a slight overstatement to say Kevin Durant and some good role players.
Right.
Kevin Durant, another all-star in Klay Thompson, a great role player in Draymond Green, and then some good bench pieces in Iggy, Livingston, and West. Like, that's, to me at least, that's how I would evaluate it. I understand why people. I understand why people.
I don't want to discredit.
We don't want to
Klay.
discredit
He's a
it,
great
but I
player.
also understand why when I say kind of flippantly, oh, you're down to 3 Hall of Famers, that's probably overstating it. Even though it's factually accurate, it's overstating it
because those 2 would not be Hall of Famers.
it's
but for the
circumstances,
championship.
right? So we can find a happy medium there. But this then, to me, comes down to a question of how good does everyone think Kevin Durant is? And for a guy, the one guy on the set who I think is considered the biggest Kevin Durant critic, I'm in a position where I evidently think more highly of him than anybody. I've seen
it's the West. Dirk Nowitzki lost in the first round.
But we saw
the year he won MVP. Kobe Bryant lost in the first round. If the Cavs were in the West, LeBron James would be in danger of losing in the first round.
Sure, but not if you if you had the Warriors, right? Take the Warriors, no Steph, and flip LeBron and to KD. We wouldn't be saying they could lose in the first round. We'd be saying they're one of the favorites. If LeBron's second best player was Klay and Draymond, well, so let's not even compare KD to LeBron. Let's compare KD to KD. Like, I saw Kevin Durant with a young Russell Westbrook, with a 6th-man James Harden, take a team to the NBA Finals. I saw Kevin Durant without James Harden take the Warriors.
You say a young Russ like that was still a great Russ.
Absolutely, but I think I think you could compare that Russ to this Klay. But regardless, like, I saw Kevin Durant take in 2012, 2014, 2016, get his team to the conference finals or further every year as the guy. Like,
without Russ, they got beat in the second round by Memphis.
Yes, they did. Absolutely. Go ahead.
4-1.
The one thing that I don't think it's a fair comparison is because how Steph in the offense is run. And the reason why they're a special team is not only just because of the talent, it's because of the pace that they play with and the space that they have to dictate on the court. No one can dictate more space than Steph. No one starts the offense better than Steph. So KD, yeah, you saw KD playing with some other players, but it was within an offense that was built around him. Yes. Their offense is not built around KD. It's built around Steph because you can't run the motion. You can't run that type of pace unless your point guard has that type of range and the dribbling skill to be able to get to anywhere on the court. So it's easy to say, oh, well, KD, when he was over here, compared to Steph now that Steph is out, the way the team is orchestrated is totally different. So it's not fair to KD because their team is not built around him and how they're going to start their offense. If they had a different point guard, I believe Steve Kerr, he would change the way they did it. The reason why Draymond's not as good because they don't have the constant movement, so you don't see the great passing from Draymond. We know Clay cannot dribble and shoot the ball. So Steph makes him so much better. That's why all those other players are better with Steph. It's not a matter of is Steph better than KD. KD is probably a better player, but the way they run their system, Steph is the quarterback.
And what happens?
That's a great point. If you give them a whole year with no Steph, and they're a better team because they're built around KD. But you can't change the offense and build it around KD on the fly.
So you're just going to give. So what happens? So you know you're not going to have it for the first round.
They think they can win. I'm just saying my view watching them. I'm not saying they're going to get beat in the first round at all. I'm saying they would get to the conference finals and lose to Houston. I'm just saying that first round matchup is not a 100% guarantee. That's all I'm saying.
All the points you make about how their offense changes, I think, are excellent points, and the numbers back it up. They go from the great, like if they played 100% of their minutes with Steph Curry on the court, statistically they'd be the best offense ever. It's like 120 points per 100 possessions with Steph on the court. But what it is not discounting is what we have seen this year and last year and the year before is the defense gets markedly better with Steph off the court. What they have had this year, and we've seen Steph off the court a lot this year, more so than the last 3 years, they have a top 2 defense in the NBA when Steph is not on the court.
Also, they play at a slower pace.
That's not by games. That is probably just in the midst of one game.
Per possession.
And that's hard to when they play games without Steph, yeah, their defense is a little better, but the offense is so much worse. But they barely win.
Okay, so
they win by 3 points.
All right, well then I'm confused here. And when you bring up the pace is baked into the defensive rating that I'm talking about. Like they account for the pace. This team, Steph didn't just get hurt for the first time this year. Steph missed a few weeks earlier this year, then missed time again. Like the idea that Steve Kerr, who's a great coach, the idea that this team wouldn't have accounted for, hey, what is our Durant-centric offense? Yes, it'd be better if they had a year to do it.
Yeah.
But they have had time. This wasn't a freak out of nowhere injury. And I think we have been to a degree spoiled by how great the Warriors have been, the surplus of weapons they've had, that now we're talking about the offense without Steph. An offense that has the guy who CC believes, and a lot of people believe, is the best offensive player in basketball in Kevin Durant, and one of the 3 best knockdown shooters in basketball in Klay Thompson, saying, man, that offense really struggles. Like, I understand why we'd be skeptical. Can they beat Houston? Because Houston is awesome. But can they beat Utah?
I'm not saying they would. I'm saying they would, but it would be a tough series. I mean, it's just watching them without Steph. They play like everybody else. KD kind of creates most of the stuff, and he plays like LeBron, but he's not the playmaker that LeBron is. He's a good one. He'll give you 5 or 6 assists a game, but he doesn't do it like LeBron does. He can't control a game like that. His
another
shot
reason why it's
selection
not fair either is because when Steph is not in the game, it's another half defender that KD and Clay and Draymond have to deal with because you don't have to play at 28 to 30 feet. There is no NBA player in the history of this game when they come across half court that you have to get in their hip pocket. Steph Curry is that one guy. And now that guy is out. If you think that won't affect, if he is that type of player, of course it would affect him. And that's what we're seeing in Golden State. All right? He has that type of gravity on the defense, and he makes other people better.
And Westbrook, like you said, those OKC teams that were great. I think that OKC team was probably better than Golden State when they were up 3-1. They should have won that series a few years ago. But Westbrook is a far different animal than Clay as your second best player. I mean, Westbrook is a top 5 player in the league, and Clay's not close to that.
All right, we'll see KD. He's back in action tonight. Chris, we'll see you a little bit later. Coming up, Eric Mangini joins us to discuss whether or not it's Super Bowl or bust for the Vikings. Literally not a cliche. That's next on First Things.